Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Joe, we'll take that beer later. Given the Premier has unilaterally committed Albertans to a $50 per tonne carbon levy, taxpayers anxiously await timely updates on financial impact. Current estimates of the burden are based on $20, scaling up to $30 per tonne in 2018. To the beer-drinking Minister of Finance, as $50 is supposedly the new ceiling, when will this government provide estimates reflecting the new impact of both costs and rebates of the Trudeau-Notley carbon tax on household budgets, excluding the beer? Oh, sorry.
On Minister of Environment and Parks.
Are you good? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And of course, earlier this session, we released the economic impact and analysis of $50 per tonne by 2022. And in fact, Kinder Morgan, the Trans Mountain expansion was approved and put into place. And of course, that analysis showed a positive economic impact for Alberta, which is why we have taken the positions that we have at the Council of Environment Ministers table and the First Minister's meeting, which is that the environment and the economy go hand in hand, Mr. Speaker, and we can be a responsible oil producers while also leading on climate change.
Thank you. For a supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My apologies to the beer-drinking Minister of Finance. Given that the government's own charts show that the full rebate of 60% of Alberta households will receive is based solely on direct costs of the carbon tax, and given that this full rebate does not take into account indirect levies on public transportation, food, clothing, and more brought about by the carbon tax, so no Albertans will actually receive a full rebate. To the Minister of the Environment, your carbon tax generates enough revenue to reduce income taxes for all Albertans while investing in your green agenda. Why have your organic beer and eat it too?
Honourable Minister.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, thank you to the honourable member for the question on the matter of the rebates and the indirect costs and the direct costs. Analysis shows that the indirect and direct costs are still being rebated up to approximately over $100,000 income for households, Mr. Speaker, and this is well established using StatsCan data. Now, as the carbon price in the out years, particularly in the New Democrats' perhaps second or third term, we will have a look at the rebates levels, Mr. Speaker, as the federal carbon price escalates.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I guess the clock will tell us what's happening with that. Given that this government's 1% reduction in small business tax is based on an initial $20 per tonne carbon tax, if this government is sincere about helping small businesses, we should expect further decreases in the small business tax as the carbon tax increases. To the Minister of Finance, if a $20 carbon tax decreases small business tax by just 1%, a $50 tax should decrease it by 2.5%. Can we expect to see further reductions in the small business tax, including to your brewers, as the carbon tax burden increases?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And of course, we will review the uptake of the energy efficiency programs. Of course, many of those for small businesses will be rolling out by the second quarter of 2017, Mr. Speaker. The first of the $645 million that this province will be investing in energy efficiency, Mr. Speaker, so we will review that. We will also review many of the new investments and new job creation benefits in clean tech and other sectors, Mr. Speaker, to examine how those programs are working, along with our annual review of all of our programs, Mr. Speaker, and we'll have more to say about that through the 2017 and 2018 budgets. Thank you.